Join us as we follow the moon. Today is a wintry day. It is pretty cold outside, so what do you do when you're inside? Bake. And today we're going to bake a lemon pound cake mix. And this is something that we got in Ohio when we were visiting family there. And we got this at a place called Marie's, and that's at West Liberty, Ohio. Now, I have written my notes down here. Normally I always say I cook by look, but today I'm using the mix, so I'm going to use the recipe. Plus I'm going to tweak it just a little bit. But the directions are kind of written in a paragraph form, so I read through them and got myself prepared and made the notes in a linear mode so that I could actually follow them a little bit better. So the first thing, this is going to be a lemon lavender pound cake. And so the lavender is the part that I'm actually going to be doing myself. The first thing I did was I read the instructions, and it said to lay out your eggs and your butter. So that's what I did a little while ago when I first got up, is I laid out my eggs, 3 of them, and I laid out my butter, and I'm going to take a couple of tablespoons of that for the recipe. But I laid them out so that they're a little bit softer. Now the variation that I'm doing with this lemon pound cake is made with lavender. So I'm going to make a very strong lavender tea, and the way I do that is I'm going to take a tablespoon of my lavender, and this lavender is it's food grade lavender flowers. I got them at a tea company. It was called the Spice and Tea Exchange. And you can get that online, or you can also go to their stores, which are throughout the country. Just look them up online and you can find a place that's maybe somewhat closer to you. We actually got these in Fort Worth when we were out there in Texas this last year. So what I've done is I'm taking a tablespoon of the flowers, and I'm going to put them in my little pot here, and I'm going to I'm going to start with about a half a cup of water, and this is going to it's going to heat up. I will turn off the heat then and let it simmer down and let it soak for a little while. I may add a little bit more water, but I'll do this so that the tea comes out to be real strong. We're also going to use some of these flowers as well, some dry flowers, in the cake mix itself. So I'm going to get this started. And I don't want to start out with too much water because I want this to really boil down. I'll just plug this in. One of the things to be careful with any tea, especially herbal teas, is you don't want to burn it. So it's going to come to the heat just before a boiling point, and then I'm going to unplug it and let it steep for a while. Then I'll check it and see how it's doing, maybe add a little bit more water, but there's a little hole in here that some of the steam can kind of come out, and that'll keep the tea to be able to get stronger. I may add some more tea flowers to it in a little bit if it looks like it's not going to be enough, but we're experimenting at this point, so this is how it goes. All right, now while my tea is coming to a brew, I'm going to go ahead and do my zest. I'm just kind of actually preparing everything so that it'll all come together a lot easier when I go to do my mixing. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut a lemon, and then I'll just squeeze it into a bowl, and I'll measure it out for the amount that I need later. But I'm doing this way so that I actually get my juice out of there. And it's got some seeds in there, so I'll pick them out too. But this gives me my fresh juice. I think that's what I'll need more for the glaze than I do the cake, but this gives some good flavor. And squeeze the second one. I'm just using one right now because this may be all that I need, but we'll see. And now I'll go ahead and zest. got a couple of lemons, so I'm probably going to use both of them. I think I'm going to be needing a little more than the one calls for. It called for 3 tablespoons. Because I'm mixing the lavender flowers, I'm kind of mixing both of those ingredients together for my 3 tablespoons. But I think you can do pretty much anything you want. Now I've mixed some dry lavender, about 1.5 tablespoons of dry lavender with 1.5 tablespoons of lemon zest, because the lemon zest may overpower your lavender, and at this point I'm kind of looking for the lavender flavoring. The cake mix, I'm sure, probably has lemon flavor to it as well. Now if you want a drier lemon zest it before you squeeze it. That will keep it a little bit drier. I went ahead and zested my second one, just zesting the lemon before it was cut, because I didn't really need all the juice that went with it. So this is how it looks. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm mixing them together so that they'll blend easier when I put them in the cake mix. So I've got all of my ingredients kind of put together now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven before I start the bake mix. So we hit preheat 6 for my 350 degrees, and convection, and also 6, and then 45 minutes, and start. All right, so we've got everything done. We're ready to go ahead and start combining the ingredients. I did melt my butter in the bottom part of my little skillet here that I was steeping the lavender flowers in. So I'm just going to take the mix here, and it says to use half of it and mix. Now on the box they talk about an electric mixer with the paddle, and of course we're in here and we're trying to keep our weight down, so we don't have one of those things, but I'm just going to use a large spatula to combine this with. So that's about half, and it says to mix it with the butter. That's warm. Pour it in. I actually poured it over the top of the spatula to spread it out a little bit. And I'm just going to mix that until it's kind of smooth. You want to scrape the sides of the bowl just to keep it all mixed. Otherwise, the dry stuff just kind of sticks. It reminds me of cookie mix, cookie dough. So the next thing I'm going to add is 1 egg at a time. I guess I'm being brave. Cooks used to have to, I guess I need to mix that. Used to have to break their eggs into a separate cup just to make sure they were good, and I'm just so trusting. I'll just add them in there. And if you don't know, if you get a piece of the eggshell in there, only a piece of eggshell can pull it out. Get this mixed up. It's starting to look more like batter. And then we're going to add the lemon zest and lavender flowers. And I want that mixed in real good, so I'm going to go ahead and mix some up and then I'll add the rest. Now this is this whole idea came out this last summer. I didn't realize that you could eat lavender. I thought it was just something you put under your pillow at night. And I fell in love with it, actually. So, that's why we're trying this. Now, Doug likes lemon bars. So the whole idea was to start out for lemon bars, and then I decided to put lavender in it. But we do have a lemon bar mix up in the cupboard. He may get lavender in that too. All right, now we're going to add the remaining mix with a half a cup of milk and alternate it with, put a little bit of the lavender tea in that milk and alternate it with the rest of the mix. All right, so I've got all of this stuff in here. I'm ready to add the rest of the cake mix as well as my lavender milk. And the way I did that is it called for a half a cup of milk, and I wanted some of that lavender tea in there, so I did about 2/3 of the amount for the milk and the other third for the tea. You can adjust it however you want, and it does have a little lavender cast to it. It's very pretty. All right, so I'll add this in, add a little bit of milk. Mix that. It's going to get a lot thinner now as I add the milk, but I guess that mix helps to keep it thicker. This is a pretty thin mix too. It's not real heavy with flour. When I was reading the ingredients, a lot of it looked pretty organic. Although it doesn't say organic on their ingredients aren't too bad. Again, I pour my milk over the spatula so it spreads it out a little bit. once I finish this up, we're actually going to bake this at 350. In a regular oven, it's 350 for 45 to 55 minutes. Being that it's a convection, is that right? Convection oven. It's going to cook a little bit faster. So I'm going to drop the time back to 45 and then check it. Then if I need to add any more, I will. But the temperature I'm pretty much going to leave the same. Now, because I'm using these pans, I'm not going to put any kind of grease or anything in there. They call for using parchment paper, but I don't think we really need this because this doesn't stick to anything. We use those all the time, and they're very nice because they're lightweight, and you can literally roll them up to get them out of the way. So I'm just going to pour the batter in there, and I'm also setting it on the rack with the pieces of wire going across it as opposed to lengthwise. I think it just helps to support it a little better. By the way, if you like this beautiful pottery bowl, we got that in Gatlinburg. And I know you're not supposed to take things that weigh a whole lot. This makes up for all my pans that I got rid of using the other stuff. I can't think of what it's called. That's what happens when you get old. Gatlinburg. And I think this should be close enough. For you to see. Doesn't that look pretty? Those lavender flowers in there. I can't wait. All right. So these are going into the oven, and we'll set our timer. And now we wait. All right, our time is done. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, and that looks beautiful. Now there's a couple of ways of checking to see if it's done. I like to use a toothpick, and I just go in a couple different places, press it all the way in, pull it out. If it's clean, it's done. That looks good there. This is the thicker part, right in the very middle. We're good. I'll just take one more time down here, and we're clean. So I'm going to let this set for about 10 minutes, and as soon as it's set to cool down in this for 10 minutes, then we're going to turn it out and let it continue to cool completely on the wire rack. All right, well, we're coming down here to the wire. We're going to be making our glaze. We did let this cool for about an hour. We had it for 10 minutes, in the silicone, and as you can see, the silicone released very nicely. I did tug it a little bit across the edges just to make sure, and then once I turned it upside down, you could actually see it starting to pull away and release the cake on the bottom. But it sat there for a little over an hour, not a whole lot over the hour. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the glaze. The pound cake is all nice and cooled, so it's ready. If you're not cool enough, it will melt the glaze. It'll soak in and make it soggy on top, and that's not what we want. We want it to just be a nice little glaze that's real solid. So first thing we do is I'm going to cut the package. Put it in the bowl. Maggie's waking up over there. She's had a nap through all this. And there we go. Now this is just so pretty. This is lemon juice and the lavender tea, and I've just put it in there and mixed it a little bit. And we're going to start out by using about half of this. Stir and make sure that it's starting to get everything dissolved, and then we'll add whatever we need. We don't want it to be too thin. We don't want it to be too thick. So let's just start with half. And that's about 2 ounces, I believe. And we take this, just start stirring it. If you've ever done frosting, it's very similar. And it's getting very thick now, so I'll put a little more in there. Oh, this is coming out pretty, and oh, it's so pink. I like that. Smell the lavender in it. And I think this is a perfect consistency. We're not going to use the last little bit. We want it to drizzle, but we don't want it to run off. Hopefully I haven't made it too thin. I put a little flat cylinder or flat silicone underneath so that it'll catch whatever drips away. I think we're pretty much ready. Just starting in the middle. Going down the side. Filling in a little bit of the gaps there where the cake started drying on the top. And you can see some of it's running off. That's bound to happen. There you go. We did lose a little bit. If I really wanted to, I could take a spoon and pick that all up and re-go across the top again once it starts drying out a little bit. But there you have it. Well, I am ready to try this, so let's go ahead. Moist on the inside. The lavender came through. Very lemony. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Now, if you like this video, excuse me, leave us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can see more videos as they come out. And don't forget to ring the bell, because it'll tell you when those videos come back out. And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.
Thanks for watching today.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel.
And be sure to ring the notification bell so you'll know when new videos come out.
Don't forget to follow us on social media too.